Clerk mic 1. Clerk mic 2. Last one.
Hey, Leader, how are you?
Guys, 2.
I'm good.
Great.
4.
Guys, 5. 32. 33. Podium 1. Welcome, everybody. We're going to open the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting in Palatka for February 13th, 2013. Pastor Mulberry is here online. No? Okay. Commissioner Bora, you. Friday invitation.
Well, thank you for the grace and the mercy. Having us here today and doing our city business, we ask you to give us a knowledge, wisdom, and guidance that we need in order to continue to do the work for the building of our community. We ask these things in somebody's name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Thank you. Commissioner Tammy McCaskill.
Here.
Commissioner Justin Campbell. He is not present at this moment. We do anticipate he will zoom in a minute. Commissioner Will Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Rufus Forum.
Present.
Representative Teresa Jackson.
Here.
And BOCC Representative Mr. Turner.
Here.
We do have a quorum in the chambers, Madam Chair.
I'm present too.
You're present too.
More or less. Welcome, Commissioner Turner, and because you are the newest member of the board, there's going to be a brief swearing-in ceremony by Ms. Krantz.
Yes, sir, if you would please. I, Terry Turner, a Community Redevelopment Agency Board appointee
Community Redevelopment Agency Board appointed
of the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners,
of the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
and the charter and ordinances
and of the charter and ordinances
of the city of Palatka,
of the city of Palatka,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
and I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state.
and that I will well and faithfully
I will well and faithfully
perform the duties
perform the duties
of board member of the Community Redevelopment Agency,
of board member of the Community Redevelopment Agency,
on which I am now about to enter.
which I am about to enter into God.
Thank you, sir.
Along, has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes? Most of us have written.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Motion, minutes approved unanimously. I'm going to open the floor to public comments. Speakers limited to 3 minutes. Name and address, please, and no action will be taken on these items. Anybody for public comments? Being none, we'll close public comments. Go on to regular business. Do you want to read the recommendation, Ms. Krantz?
You can read it. Madam
Okay.
Mayor.
Recommendation to authorize and execute a scope and fee agreement with CHW Professional Consultants in an amount not to exceed $6,500 for professional consulting services for the CAF wayfinding project for Reed Street and Krill Avenue. Ms. Gannett?
Marcia Gannell, project manager. And I also noticed that we have a representative from CHW, so let me give you some of the, a quick overview, and then she's available to answer any more specific questions. So as stated, this is CHW design firm proposal, $6,500 not to exceed. And it is for, what we're requesting today is a recommendation for approval for the city commission from this board. It's a CHW proposal for consulting services for wayfinding project for the DOT right-of-ways. Includes 2 in the city of Palatka, Reed Street, or US 17, and also Krill Avenue, or State Road 20. The scope is for a total of 12 signs. For each location, they do a conceptual phase plan and then a final phase plan. Some of the elements and artifacts that are associated with that, they have a conceptual drawing, site plan, design speed of the adjacent roadways, structural plans, and then a community aesthetic feature agreement. It's signed by the local government entity, and then approval letter. All the approval letters, of course, they're the state of Florida. Are there, I think it's pretty straightforward. Oh, this is to address, get the right words here, permitting for known public purpose signs. So these are fairly generic amenities, river parking, things that will apply to everybody. But there's also hours within this to address business-specific signage requests. So we've developed a program document that outlines the requirements for business. There's a $75 fee, limit 1 sign per pole and 2 per business total. Outlines all the requirements, like the city is the only one that's permitted to install or uninstall signs, and all the terms and agreements that the business that want that. Are there any questions or comments?
Will DOT allow business signs on the right of way? I knew that they would allow auxiliary signs, but they would allow business signs on the right of way.
I think that's
Sorry, I'm attempting not to speak much tonight, but, Mr. Turner, in the past, no. But it appears in the past year or so, we've kind of softened their approach on it a little bit. So we believe there's at least a shot. I mean, that's what this effort is to see if DOT will be agreeable to placing some of that signage on the right of way.
Do you think that it might be to our advantage to at least ask the question before we spend $6,500 designing signs we can't put up?
We have asked the question, and that's what this effort is for, to take us through that permit process.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any additional questions?
So those are gonna be just through the permanent process. Not gonna have to do any designs or anything like that. What that is.
well, the program documents outline some of the design requirements that there's.
No, but it says excluding designs. It's not gonna do the design for, so just walk us through the process.
Commissioner Jones, the design for the public purpose signage is done, and as you're aware, there's already some installed throughout the downtown area. So that's done. They're gonna take our design and they're gonna make application to DOT to permit the placement of the signs, which we've already determined the location of those. We just have not been able to install them. And then on the business specific signage, that design is set as well. You guys set that design when you approved the program documents a couple months back.
We just didn't have it. I guess the time to do it, staff to do this pertinent part, like Mr. Turner, pay them $6,500. So
Yeah, it's a lot more involved than just submitting a picture of what the sign looks like. There's actually some engineering that goes into this process. You have to look at the placement of the sign per DOT standards. There's site triangles that have to be complied with. There's a lot of things that we really just are not equipped to take into account. And you have to have something more than just a horizontal rendering of the sign. You actually have to have design drawings and placement plans to submit with the application. This is a good proposal, sir.
yeah, my question was already asked.
Do you want to introduce Ms. Hall, or does she have any more information to share?
Ms. Hall, did you, hear the commission panel?
Hi, everybody. Hi. I don't know that I have anything to add.
Can't hear you.
Oh, okay, just a second. Can you hear me now?
This is for a second. Hold on.
I can hear you fine. It may be a problem, Sunny, with the room system.
Ms. Hall, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. No, I'm just available to answer any questions. I will also point out that the contract is hourly not to exceed. So it's really just based on whatever effort. So the effort might be less than that. So, you know, I just wanted to point that out, that we're only billing for whatever effort that the permitting actually requires.
So we contract with you, Ms. Hall. What does it usually take as far as time completing the project?
So it really just depends, each location might be a little bit different. As Jonathan pointed out, there are some other things as far as like maintenance of traffic. And so depending on where the location is, the DOT might need to see a few different things and there might be some additional coordination. But we try to minimize the amount of time, just try to keep the cost low.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Go ahead.
I'm new at this, so I'm gonna just ask a question. I'm assuming that the CRA allows for design and permitting in the scope of work that they allow CRA to pay for.
Jonathan, Mr. Sorry, Mr.
Mr. Griffith had some dental work done and his, so it's,
Okay.
It is an eligible expense.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. And are we intending to vote on this? It's new to me.
you'd be
Okay.
making a recommendation to the city commission.
Yes, I know. Okay, do we have a motion? Gotta read the resolution.
I can read the resolution if you'd like, Madam Mayor, but of course, the resolution is for the commission.
And so basically it'd be sufficient if you vote yes or no to recommend to the commission, and then at the commission level, the resolution will be passed.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Any opposition? Okay, thank you. Unanimous. Now we're going to introductory reports. Mr. Paul, Small Business Development Center report.
Good afternoon, Rick Paul from the Small Business Development Center. Welcome, everybody. Lots of new faces, very exciting time. Can you hear me okay? So the reporting for the SPDC activities is kind of lagging a little bit, I guess the way to say. So we did have a very good success story the tail end of last year. Greg and Scott Bacon purchased Plastic Masters International. I don't know if you saw the impact story or not that got put around. That was one of the clients that had gotten to the finish line, and we discussed the finish line a little bit earlier, where a client will come to me, and if they're interested in a loan package or so forth, I help them with their business plan, pull together their business plan. They need their personal financial statements, 3-year IRS tax returns, and then normally we pull together some pro forma financial statements. So pro forma means projected or into the future, and this is what the banks are looking for, or lenders, to make a decision about the loan itself. So this was one of the loans that happened last year. I mentioned it. I think it was third quarter was the last time, because it wasn't, the meeting wasn't held in December for the fourth quarter, I think. But anyhow, this is one of them that went through last year. So last year that had come through is $2.5 million in loan packaging support services through the SBDC. There's also another pending $240,000 that hopefully will occur this quarter, but you never know. I mean, one of these packages was put together and the guy was ready to, everything but his signature, but he didn't sign it. So it's still active, and I've talked to the client and he intends on acting on it. So that'd be close to about 2.8 million last year in loan packaging that I helped with. This year, year to date, we've got just over 3 million that's been submitted. 2.7 of that was today. So loan packaging is, as the service of the SBDC is going very well. Some success stories coming out, as shown by Greg Scott Bacon last quarter. And hopefully I'll have some more of these to pass around and show you coming up pretty soon. Let's see, as far as upcoming events and that type of thing, there is an event, it's on March 8th, it's in Crescent City. If anybody from the county is interested in going to it, it will be from 5 to about 6:30, location yet to be determined. That's going to be kind of a combination social and workshop, where the workshop will be Marie Mishker from PTAC, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, will be there. And then we have Marge Carrillo. She's one of our retired bankers who is doing a lot of the banking help for our district, the 18 county area that the University of North Florida SPDC works in. She'll be there, and I'll be doing a little presentation also on social media advertising. Does it pay? So that's coming up on March 8th. And then one of the questions, or one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today is there's been some folks that have come to me saying that the business environment in the city and the county is a little rough at the edges perhaps. And I was wondering if maybe we could put together a workshop in the future where the city and the county kind of come together and maybe review business proposals, so it's easy for somebody to get into business in the area.
So you're kind of talking about the process, like I want to open a retail store, what do I do? Is there a process that somebody can?
Right,
Figure out
and to make sure that the city and the county and the SPDC, maybe the chamber, I don't know, I haven't run it past them, that we're all on the same page, encouraging small business and entrepreneurship. We know small business still employs more people in the country than large businesses. All the big ideas come out of, well, most of them come out of small businesses, and that it's small business that built this country, not large business. So small business is critical to the community in order to attract more, to kind of have a fresh look, to make sure all of our policies and procedures are on the same page for the city and the county, and that everybody's working together to encourage small business.
What do you mean? Help me understand a little bit about that. I mean, really, all the city does and county is about the same. We have a business license tax, right? We have a compliance with zoning and inspection of the building, and that's pretty much where we are. So what is there for us to smooth out, so to speak?
Well, I'm not sure smooth out's the correct term, maybe making everybody aware of what's, of the procedures and policies and to go through, because what we're trying to do, or I'm trying to do, or trying to help out, is to ensure that the small business community has a place to go, that knows who to contact in case of zoning or other issues, maybe business licensing. So to help build the entrepreneurial community a little bit more, make it a little smoother, let people kind of work together.
So there's like a checklist where you get these types of licenses, and I'm not saying it's the cities, but opening a business, I know you would have to get this, and then you have to get a Department of Ag license in my case. But, again, if you're new to the area, you're not sure where you need to go, what doors you need to knock on to help. So I understand what you're kind of asking. I'm not sure who the right entities are. I do think Benji Bates Chamber Economic Development was working on something like that. So you may want to start with him. He may already have an outline of sorts that would be easy to bring to both the city and county, and just get them to look at it and add to it or delete from it.
Okay, and I was also thinking about perhaps, maybe having an event occasionally, maybe once a quarter for maybe an hour, on a Friday afternoon or something, where if somebody had a question about zoning or permitting, maybe we could have some representatives there and they could come in and meet and chat and get to know
Probably
people.
the thing to do would be to develop a seminar. And then if you had, if I made note there, and then maybe at once a quarter or something, put on a seminar and just come up with, give them a checklist of the different things they need to do, because there's really no sense in an entrepreneur coming in and talking about zoning if they have a piece of property that's already zoned, or they don't even know where the building is yet, or something along those lines. So, I think you could develop a seminar.
Okay, we do have a startup seminar, but I was trying to kind of get the county and the city and the chamber and SPDC working more closely together, I guess you would say. So just something to consider.
Well, I'm certainly an advocate of the city and the county having better relationships than perhaps what we've had in the past, and the mayor and I have even touched on that a little bit in some of our conversations. But, I don't have any issues with this whatsoever, but I'd sure like to start on some more important issues than this with our relationship.
Yeah, I think this is an important one though, and that's why I was saying if the groundwork has kind of already somewhat been done, if you can then bring it to whomever, I mean, to get us all together, it's gonna require public noticing and advertisement, and that's fine. Or the rep from each of us, one of us, that's different, but at any rate, maybe we better pull all of that together and share it with us first, so we can have, and maybe help add to it. And at some point, seminar sounds to me like a good possibility.
Okay, very good. Well, then I'll try to work something up and hopefully we can do something like that in the future. Are there any questions or comments for the SPDC?
Yeah, are you speaking more of staff? Because
Yes.
you didn't specify.
Well, no, I haven't quite, and it's just a concept and I'm trying to flesh it out a little bit, I guess is the way to say it. So, having actual city and county come together in chamber and SPDC, and then maybe thereafter staff, maybe once a quarter or something, just to encourage the entrepreneurial ecosystem and to be there in case somebody has any questions. It's nice to put a face with an issue like zoning or, whatever it's gonna be, permits, what have you. So just an idea.
Thank you. I mean, I think I'm certainly in favor of supporting small business and entrepreneurs in what way we can as a city. So we just have to, I guess, figure this out.
Okay, very good.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Thank you all. Thank you.
Update on the building improvement for share grant.
Hi, yes, thank you. So I just wanted to give a quick update. This is Mandy Tucker, CRA, Grant Administrator, Project Manager, of the first cycle, which we refer to as the May 22 cycle. The board recommended award of 11 $5,000 cost share grants. Out of those 11, 7 have signed agreements. 4 have declined the grant. The $5,000 wasn't enough for them to move forward with the project they had applied for. And 1 has decided to reapply in the current cycle. Out of those 11, the 7 that signed, 1 project has been completed and all necessary paperwork is being processed now for that grant to be closed out. Then we are moving on to the September cycle, which is the latest advertised cycle. We had 13 applications received. 1 was out of the district, so it couldn't be considered. 4 had received TIF funds in the past 10 years, so they were disqualified, and then 1 was incomplete. So 7 are moving forward for scoring, and staff has been working on scheduling the tax increment finance advisory committee meeting to score the complete applications. And it looks like we're hopefully going to get a date in March where we can get those applications scored and then brought back to you at the April CRA meeting. That is our goal for this right now. Do y'all have any questions for me on that before we move into our next update?
Any questions? Seems not.
Okay, so the other update I had for y'all this evening was I wanted to bring it to your attention that we are expecting to bring a special events cost share grant application to you. I was hoping to have it for this meeting, but there's still a few items that are needed in order to complete the application. It's for the South Historic Neighborhood Association's Porch Fest. We're still waiting on 4 items to be completed inside their application. And then we'll bring it forward once it's complete. And do y'all have any questions for me on that?
That's 4 items to be supplied by the applicant, correct?
That is correct. 4 items within the application that the applicant needs to either submit additional documentation or answer questions or sign or provide outside documentation that the application asks for.
You. That seems to be it on the agenda. Does anybody else have any?
Nope.
Jonathan, should we mention the possibility of Main Streets? At least a discussion in the future? Okay, I think most of you know, that Palatka was part of the Florida Main Street program, from 1989 up until about 8 years ago. And I guess, and I kind of requested this, that we possibly at the next CRA meeting bring it up for further discussion as to whether the program would be worthwhile to reinstate. Crescent City just became a Main Street community. Other places that seem to have success in revitalization when the program is done right can be really helpful in terms of revitalization. It does require a full-time CRA director for a city with a population of the size of ours. And traditionally or historically, I should say, that has been funded by the CRA. So again, it's just a discussion for April if everybody's interested. Why not? Would that be that? Okay. Thank you.
A little bit of history on why was it disbanded before?
Those of you that want to commission them, we provide a history with it. Specifically.
Well, I mean, from a specific standpoint, I mean, we just didn't see where we would get the value or whatever from the program itself, so it was somewhat suspended based on what was being spent and what was being brought, so it was suspended from my understanding, and it just had not been funded. That's from my recollection.
And at that point, the Main Street director had already left prior to that funding being pulled. And in fact, we revitalized Mr. Palatka, the 501c3 for RHP is actually the Main Street 501c3, and the name was changed legally to maintain that 501c3. But again, if you look at the communities that have done it right, and if you have a good director, I mean, there's a lot of ifs here, but it can be very successful in terms of revitalization of development down to the downtown district. But anyway, it's just a point of discussion, and we can also ask the state Florida Main Street director, Catherine Beck, to either attend and provide some information or send a designee. Okay.
If I may add, also at that meeting in April, that we can maybe bring back some stats on how it benefited the city prior to, previous to the 8 years or whatever the case may be, where there was not a director. So we kind of see, you know, the benefits of it.
Right. Just, like, as Mr. Cole was saying, looking at the overall history, up to the point where it was, not carried forward, and then from that period to now, to see, the impact, that'd be a great,
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything?
I think we had some follow-ups from our last meeting. Commissioner Boone had brought up, actually, about the parking. We talked about securing parking. I think Griffin was also that. After reaching out with DEO, you recall?
Commissioner Jones, yes, the easiest way to put this is, the entity, that caused us to look at acquiring additional parking, did not go forward with the development deal that they were looking at. If that's something that the CRA would like us to continue to look at, we can. There are some available lots. We did secure the one in the 800 block or 700 block, getting screwed up. And that's a pretty good arrangement. You know, we're paying $10. We made very minimal improvements. We could probably negotiate similar arrangements around the city.
At that point in time, we were trying to, if you recall, need a certain number of required parking spaces in order for that gentleman to move forward with the purchase of the building on St. John's Avenue and his intended plans. We would have involved in investing quite a bit of money. You know, We talked about parking before, but especially with a business of that type, I think he decided that having parking 2 blocks away wasn't going to be something that was going to satisfy the requirements. It might have satisfied a technical requirement for loan or consideration. From a practical perspective, he didn't think it was going to be workable for his business. So at that point, we terminated those efforts.
Madam Mayor, if I may, Commissioner Campbell, now.
I saw, yeah. Is there anything else?
No, I just wanted to follow up.
Commissioner Campbell, welcome. Do you have?
Thank
any-
you.
We're kind of had gone through the agenda already, and I'm seeing if anybody has anything else they want to bring to the attention of the CRA board. Do you have anything?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Teresa, do you have anything? Okay. Commissioner Warren
Under that,
and Commissioner McCaskill already said no, thank you. Okay, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
We have one more commissioner.
Are we, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm so sorry, excuse me. Didn't want to get you some more sample. And, okay, a motion to adjourn.
oh,
Thank you all.